Hi, hello guys, my name is Mia Marie and you are currently watching my Synastry Compatibility series where I go through all the 12 signs, sun signs, and how they get along. Now, as a general disclaimer, we reference so much more than just the sun sign for compatibility, but the importance of the sun and understanding someone's sun sign and accepting it and supporting it is that the sun sign describes the motives, the behaviors, the experiences that contribute to someone's sense of sanity. So we're not talking so much about what someone needs emotionally or how they flirt or what makes them great in bed, all of those very, romantic topics. We're talking about how to support someone's vitality, someone's sense of self, and someone's healing human journey. So keep in mind that this is just a gentle introduction, and you can get so much more by booking a session with me or another fantastic astrologer. Those who are born with their sun in Cancer came into this world wanting to bring the soul into form. They may not think about it that way, but they see the oneness in everything. Literally, from the carrot, the vegetable, to a rabbit, an animal, from an animal to a human, from a human to a culture, from one culture to another culture. Everything is a life worth protecting and nourishing and loving. Cancer is represented as the mother in astrology, the womb. And what do we see when we look at a womb? We see something that is protective, something that is supportive. And so you have that quality with Cancer where they want to create a sense of security in the external world. They're represented by the crab, that tough shell that protects that tender meat inside. That's exactly what a Cancer is like. And if you've ever heard of Cancer, then you know what that shield feels like, because they will go inside of themselves. They will shut you off. You cannot penetrate that shell without truly breaking them, but it's nearly impossible. Another thing about the shell is that it's their home. They carry their home on their back, and it's hard for them to put things down. We're thinking about those little crabby hands. Whether it's things, they can't let go of things, they can't let go of old lovers. They want to collect everything because they've chosen that thing for a specific reason. And another quality to Taurus, to Cancer, is that they want to experience what love looks like long term with a partner, with a family member, with a pet. They're willing to see it through. They're emotionally equipped and programmed for the trials and tribulations that come with sticking with someone for the long haul, the long run. I mean, as we all know, our family members are sometimes the people that make us want to pull our hair out. Now, I'm not talking about toxic relationships where you should distance yourself from family. I'm just talking about the normal family trials and tribulations. My mom is irritating me. My dad is a handful. My siblings are this and that. Cancer is the person that says, you know what, but we're blood and I love you. And it's still safe, right? It's safe to love you, but we have to change things. Let's work on this. That's what Cancer is focused on. It's also ruled by the moon. And just like in real life, the moon affects the ocean directly. And so Cancerians have that quality to when they're feeling a specific way, they are not trying to emotionally manipulate you, though they're not above that, but they're not trying to make you feel a certain way. It's just when they are glowing like that, they are going to pull you into their emotions because that is the exchange of energy that you guys are partaking in. Pure, undisturbed Cancer energy is sensitive and introverted. And how this manifests is if you're at a party or if you're at their house, probably. If you're at their house and they're hosting, they, without you knowing, are taking intel on everything about you. Your vibe, your tone, your posture, what you're wearing. They want to know where you are emotionally, and they won't say anything to you. They're just like, okay, noted. Oh, I noticed that. Oh, that's interesting. And they'll let you repeat the pattern. And after it happens a couple of times, they might come over and give you a hug, but they're not going to confront you. They're not confrontational. They would much rather things come out in a soft way, naturally, when you're ready. If they're concerned about you, then they will, make you dinner, or they'll take you out somewhere, and then they'll talk about it. But it won't be like, whoa, they're not all up in your face like that. They want you to feel completely yourself. And something I've noticed about Sun in Cancer is that they have strong career aspirations. They perform well at work. And it's not because they love their job, though oftentimes they do. It's because what their job does for their family or their sense of security or their quality of life. They want to be providers. They want to be the person that anyone in their family or their life can go to when they need any type of support, emotional, financial. They are the mother. Now let's talk about some deal breakers. Cancer will not like if you disapprove of or discourage them spending time with their family or chosen few. They like making their rounds. They like spending time with their friends. They like spending time with their family. They will make a point to spend time with their family, their kids, their parents. It's important to them and their sense of self. Their sanity hinges on their ability to stay connected to their community emotionally. The second thing that they dislike is black and white thinking to the point where you prize separation, because you have to think about it, right? They see the oneness in everything. They see the connectedness in everything. They see love everywhere they look. And so if you're someone who swears on this being that way and this being that way, Cancer is going to feel turned off. Come on, be better. Speaking solely to the sun sign, Cancer's love language is probably quality time, acts of service. They like when they're with you for you to be present with them. You're not on your phone, you're not distracted with something else. They like the exchange of bonding and sharing an experience together. And the way that they love you is they do things for you. They do your laundry, they make you food, they pack your lunch, they clean the house, they tidy things up. That's their way of saying, like, I'm paying attention to what you need, and because all these things are handled, life is easier for us all. You know you're in hot water and deep water with Cancer when they shut off. When all you see is the shell. They don't give two fucks how you're doing, how you're holding yourself, what you're saying, what you're doing, if you're comfortable, if you're fed. Suddenly you've just fallen off their radar and they're moody towards you. In fact, when they do speak towards you, the emotional intelligence comes out and they know how to arouse a specific reaction. They are calculating in the way that they're talking to you. Everything becomes like just duty. The opposite sign is what comes out, Capricorn. So the Capricorn expression is there really is little heart, and it's all about, well, we have to talk because we're business partners, or we have to talk because I am in some way, shape, and form related to you, but they're cold, they're distant and detached. So in whole, a sun in Cancer is emotionally intelligent, emotionally aware, sensitive, receptive, nurturing, protective, and they're focused on sustaining something for its entire life. Whether it's a plant, a vegetable, a relationship, they're the best lovers. Someone with their sun in Capricorn has a soul that came to Earth to learn that when you work productively, you learn patience, persistence, and perseverance. Now, something that not a lot of astrologers talk about, which I find completely baffling, is that Neptune was in Capricorn from 1984 until 1998. And this is a huge influence because yes, Capricorns are hard workers and they typically, stereotypically, archetypally know who they are and what they want to do. With Neptune here, you can actually get a character that has no idea who they are. It's almost as if they are Piscean, Capricornian characters. You're dealing with a Capricorn who was born in that time. You might notice that they have a hard time establishing an ego or seeing themselves clearly. There is this, it's almost as if when you take a shower and the mirror is fogged and you try to look at yourself, you can't see yourself. That is a Capricorn with Neptune on the sun. So back to Capricorn energy. Capricorn is the third earth sign. It is the most mature. It takes the security and the competence from Taurus. It takes the systems that Virgo has created and it goes, okay, how do we turn this into a company? How do we sell this? How do we market this? How do we create revenue? How do we provide for the masses? It's a universally oriented sign. These are typically like the bosses because they are focused on order of operations. They like things done in a specific way. They keep a list of things to do and they like to check those things off. They get off to being productive. Capricorn is naturally ruled by the planet Saturn, and that's the planet with the ring around it, which is perfect because Capricorn, Saturn energy, it's all about restriction, constriction, knowing boundaries, exercising boundaries, bending to authority, really wanting a position that gives you authority and power. And so oftentimes what you'll find with these people is it's hard for them to play and have fun, to experience joy, because if you're playing around all day, you're not going to be as productive, right? It goes against their motive to be persistent and patient and to persevere against all odds. It's thinking the long haul. What are the decisions that I can make every single day that will turn my life into a legacy? What is my great work? And that is something that will stick with Capricorn their whole lives. Now, something they may not realize is that some of their greatest work is going to be internal. It's going to be something that nobody else sees. They are in so many ways proving themselves to themselves, similar to Taurus, but on a greater scale. The stakes are so much higher. They're in the public eye. And along with that, they care a lot about how other people view them. They want to come off as professional and polished. They like their clothes like ironed. They like neutrals, or they just like to give the look like they are all about their business. And if they don't, you can tell depression has many correlations with Saturn energy or Capricorn energy. And so that's their default. And when they're depressed, it's their body trying to scream at them like, this isn't working. This ego that you are working to accomplish. And as a preface, or for clarification, I don't demonize the ego. I think that everyone has one and it must serve a purpose, and the ego is trainable. That's the beauty. You can always train your ego to be in service to your soul. So I'm not slamming egos. Depression is always a call from the soul, and it's saying, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to live this life anymore. I'm tapping out. And when you have that perspective, when you have that awareness, then you're able to adjust your schedule. And it will be something that you have to manage on the outside. And then as you do it, as you start moving your body through the adjustment in your schedule, you'll start to reconnect with yourself, or Capricorn will start to reconnect with themselves. It will also manifest by their habits and their behaviors. When they're not working, they'll work until they're exhausted, and then they'll come home and they'll want to drink or they'll want to smoke. They just want out. Okay, so Capricorns in relationships specifically, it is a duty. It is something that is similar to a job. They want to show up, and they want to show up every day, and they expect that you're going to show up every day. And more than that, they will exercise their own restrictions and expectations onto you. They want you to get on board with their schedule. They are a leadership sign. They're a cardinal sign. And so you will find that they really take you under their wing, and they want you guys to excel together. In my personal experience, I found that Capricorn does appreciate partnership, but it doesn't do the flings. It wants marriage. It wants kids. It wants the earthly representations of accomplishment. They are reliable. They are consistent. They are on top of it. They're on top of what you're doing, what you're not doing, what you should be doing. And they have an eye for things that are flawed, and they'll point it out to you. They can kind of have a more serious or stoic attitude towards life, and it's very matter of fact when you're with them. They have this dry quality to their personality that people can find endearing. Now, some deal breakers with Capricorn. If you are not thinking long term, if you don't want a serious relationship, if you don't want to be married or have children or buy a house or grow old together, that is a Capricorn thing, then they will dismiss you quite quickly. They don't want to entertain games, and they don't appreciate when you try and toy with them because they will show up for you. They take life seriously, and they take themselves seriously, which means they also take you seriously, and they expect you to act as a mature, grown, and responsible adult at all times. Now, if you're someone who's a little bit more spontaneous, like for example, in my personal experience with Capricorn, I like to do things on a whim. I can't stand a plan. I like just putting myself out there and having a fun time, watching where life takes me. If you have that type of an attitude, they are going to contract. They may get on board depending on their other placements, but there's something inside of them that gets nervous, and they kind of like do this, they don't like it, and they might judge you, and they may call you impulsive. They don't appreciate impulsivity. They don't appreciate things that are done on a whim because it's not well thought out. You're not thinking of the consequences of your actions. What if you get lost? What if you run out of money? What if blah, 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 blah. They're going to name all the cautionary things that you didn't think about as you're trying to bungee jump off of a cliff. Piggybacking on that, they are risk averse. They don't like putting themselves in situations where they may fail. Because what does that show about them? What does that prove about them? That means that they aren't this authoritarian character or authoritative character, depending on whichever one they subscribe to, high functioning, low functioning. They don't like to look stupid. They like to come off as someone who can manage the masses. And so they will avoid situations where there is a greater probability that they will fall on their face, or they have a hard time surrendering to the unknown. And they will criticize you for putting yourself in that situation until they see that you have been successful. So if you're someone who enjoys challenge, risk, and thrills, expect to have like a sit-down conversation where it's like, they're the principal and you're the student, and they're like, listen to me. This is the rules. This is what we do. Another thing they won't appreciate is if you don't take your life seriously. If you are not accomplishing things on a daily basis, or if you have nothing to prove for your day or your energy or your effort, they like to show their person off. They like to feel as if they have also won a prize. They are a prize, and so is their person. They like the power couple idea. And so if you are a little bit, if you're not as ambitious, or if your ambitions don't yield material, again, representations of success and accomplishment, they're not going to gravitate towards you. But all in all, they're about their business. And if you are with them, then you are their business. So they're focused on the long term. They want commitment. They will show up for you. They will want to provide for you. They will want to make you feel like your relationship is stable and your home space is stable, and you guys can do whatever you like because you have the funds in the bank. Sun in Capricorn, Sun in Cancer, opposites. They definitely attract, and they also definitely drive each other up the wall. Now, there is a hack to this relationship, and we'll get to it later, but let's start off at the basics. So we have two introverted signs. Capricorn is introverted, and so is Cancer. And this is just speaking specifically to the sun sign. If either one of them has tons of air or fire, it's going to manipulate how they recharge and use energy. But simply put, between these two, they wake up in the morning feeling charged and ready to go, and the moment they're out in the world, they start using their energy, so they get tired at about the same time. Cancer is a cardinal sign, which means that it is a leader. It's a leader of the home. And Capricorn is also a cardinal sign, but it's trying to lead a company or lead a community. It wants to show up in a public way. It wants to be the center of attention in public, and Cancer kind of wants to be the center of attention at home. And so Cancer is going to want to create an environment where everybody is welcome and seen and appreciated. Cancer is more of the observer. And I think that Capricorn has the observant quality too, but Capricorn does run the risk of calling it like it sees it because it is a earth sign. So it's not going to go out of its way to share an opinion with you, especially if it's like distasteful. But if you ask a Capricorn, they will be kind of, honest. They will give it to you straight, and there might be a little bit of a harsh tone to it. So Cancer and Capricorn, I mean cats and dogs. The friction areas between the two of these is Capricorn will find Cancer to be way too soft and emotional and inconsistent. And Cancer will find Capricorn to be too stoic, detached, dry, and predictable, and emotionally unavailable, depending on, we're speaking solely to Capricorn energy. And so the thing that Cancer wants the most, the thing that makes it feel full and loved and nurtured, is love. Give me a sweet nickname, cuddle with me, tell me how much you love me, let's write me poetry, do something sweet. Capricorn is usually detached from its emotions because it's focused on something else. It's trying to establish a public identity, and that's big because it's not only just trying to shine brightly in one area, it's trying to shine over a big area. And so Capricorn doesn't really have the emotional intelligence or the tools as just a sun sign to pay attention to the change of voice of a Cancer, or the mood, or when Cancer gets really moody and needs to throw a tantrum, because personal signs do, water signs do too. Well, specifically Cancer though. Cancer likes to throw tantrums like once a month with the moon. And sometimes Cancer, when it's overwhelmed by itself, it will say things that can stir up an emotional reaction. And Capricorn does not take disrespect in any shade of gray. And so Capricorn will close up, get tighter, and almost criticize Cancer's childlike behavior, and it won't actually drop in and listen to what Cancer is saying. And most of the time what Cancer is saying is like, I need you to be here. I just need you to hold me. I just need you to love me. Cancer is very creative. It is nurturing and it's protective. And Capricorn is also protective, but as it relates to the material world, it wants to make sure that we have a place to eat, place to sleep. We have money in the bank. They're very concerned with money because, you know, money is a representation of their success in the world. And oftentimes Capricorn people have a slow start to life, ruled by Saturn. They kind of come in at a disadvantage, and they have this horrible inner critic that makes what even could be like a monumental accomplishment feel really small. Because in a Capricorn's mind, it's like, this is not a goal that I'm aspiring to. It's like, I must do this or I'm not good enough. And so Cancer can kind of help celebrate Capricorn's wins in a way. It's almost like Capricorn can hold Cancer, or Cancer can hold Capricorn's hand and feel the emotions for them and demonstrate what Capricorn should be feeling in a particular moment. Now, the key to this relationship. Do I have it? I don't have it. I'll have to go get it. The key to this relationship is that there's a time for compromise and there is a time to surrender and try and integrate new information. I would not recommend that you two compromise. What compromise can look like is one of you really wants Mexican and the other one really wants Italian, and you compromise and go for Thai food. It's like neither one of you is satisfied. Neither one of you, like, your appetite is still there for something else. And so what happens is Cancer is holding one truth and Capricorn seems to be holding an opposing truth. And so they're looking at each other like, you're wrong, right? But in essence, what the fallacy in their thought is that they each think that their truth is the whole truth, when in actuality, if they combine their logic, then they get the full breadth of the truth. And so in order to understand what the other person is saying, you have to suspend entertaining your own beliefs, your own truth, and go down a path that you would not normally go down. If you're a Capricorn, that's the path of emotions, or, you know, Cancer's path. If you're Cancer, you have to go down the Capricorn path. And it just because you walk it doesn't mean that you are abandoning your truth. You're basically saying to this person is like, I trust you. And this is the only way it happens. You have to look each other in the eyes like, I trust you, but I have no idea where the fuck this is coming from. Because if you try and like make your truths balance out, you're going to compromise essential information. For example, if Capricorn is like, here's 100% of the truth. And did I say Capricorn? Capricorn says, here's 100% of the truth. And Cancer's like, I don't agree with 15% of that. Capricorn's like, fine, I'll cut it out, we'll compromise. And if Cancer does the same thing, then we have 30% of valuable information that is not being integrated because we are trying to force it to work as best as possible. When in an ideal situation, you guys both stand by what you say, but you are embracing and trying to integrate what the other person brings into your consciousness. You wrestle with each other. Where does this idea go? How do these two things that are opposing each other, how do they fit? Like, where on the scale does everything fall? Let me go get something. Right. Let's say that you are Cancer, okay? And I'm Capricorn. And someone sits before us and says, in one word, describe what you see to your partner. You're probably, one word, you're probably gonna say camera. And I'm gonna say purse. And we're gonna bicker back and forth because what we are looking at from our perspective, there's no way that they are connected. You're fucking crazy, right? Is what you're thinking. Now, the truth of the matter is we're both right. And when we combined what we know to be true, the perspectives that we see, we get what it is, right? A camera purse, a purse camera. And that's kind of what it's like with this relationship is you are going to have many moments where you guys just disagree and you're going to turn your back on each other. And it's in those moments specifically that I encourage you to turn around and say, okay, say that to me again, maybe in a different way, and work through it. The downside of this is you aren't truly open to what the other person is presenting, and so they immediately become the open enemy. That is the downside of sister sign expressions, is like, you're just way too different from me. There's no way that this can absolutely work. And I will say that this relationship does take a lot more patience and energy and effort, but it is very passionate, and there is never a dull moment because each of you is constantly poking at, shining light on the area of life that the other one is actively avoiding. So you can see how this dynamic is a push and pull, but that is the beauty of polarity, is we understand the entirety of life. And so I think that you guys could be fantastic partners with each other, but it does take consciousness and awareness and a dedication to not only your person, but the truth at hand. I could also say, that Cancer benefits from Capricorn focusing on the long-term goals as it relates to, do we have money in the bank? Do we have a savings account? Are we going to live a successful life by material measures? Because if you have the money in the bank, then Cancer can really drop in and shine in the home space. Capricorn will appreciate, especially like when they start having kids or once they get married and Cancer is a part of their family, the Cancer partner is going to make sure that everyone is emotionally involved, and they will create a community, or they will strengthen the community that the partners are both involved with. It's definitely a power couple dynamic. So if you want to learn more, you can find me at wellandrising.com/services. I do birth chart readings, synastry readings, anything that you can dream of. I can pretty much do it. Challenge me.